If you're a podcast host and you are getting multiple podcast guest requests per day via email, DMs, somehow they're getting your phone number and texting you and calling you. If you're getting all of this, there is action that you need to take. Hey, my name is Alex Sanfilippo, if I've not met you before, and I'm really excited to dive into this idea behind how to really streamline the entire booking process for your show. Now, I think that many of us at this point, we have some sort of process or system. It's not totally random, but I'm willing to bet that it is still pretty random when you get down to it. Now, first off, I want to share this overarching idea here. Where there is demand, there needs to be automation and monetization. Where there's demand, there needs to be some sort of automation, there needs to be some sort of process, some sort of system, and there needs to be a way that you're earning money from that because there's demand there. Now, what I mean by this is that with everyone reaching out to be a guest on your show, you need to do something with that. You can't just continue to respond to emails and to messages or send them to some sort of Google form or anything like that. You've got to come up with something that's going to, one, automate that process, and two, bring some money into your pocket. Now, the very first thing people want to do is I want to get an even longer form, right? And I don't mean go to like one of the more premium type form creation software. Like it's still going to cause you to have to copy paste at some point. It's still not really that helpful. And then the monetization side, the first thought is like, I know what I'll do. I'll charge my guest to be on the podcast. Listen, if you're charging your guest to be on a podcast, you're missing a really big opportunity. You're immediately changing this idea of connection and collaboration into transaction. So connection versus transaction. You're going to build a really bad reputation in podcasting, and you're probably not going to see a lot of success from it anyway. You're basically creating glorified infomercials, if anyone remembers that on TV, right? Like, are the best products infomercials? No, they're not. So the best podcast isn't an infomercial either. If you're charging your guest, that's what you're ultimately creating. And legally, there's probably something there. I digress. Okay, moving on here. Going back to this idea here, if you're getting a lot of podcast guest requests, what can you do? Now, first off, I want to give some perspective here because you might feel like it's manageable right now. I don't know exactly how many you're getting, but I want to show my screen real quick here. And I'm just going to kind of give some perspective here on what this looks like from an industry-wide standpoint. So podmatch.com/report. This is a report that we put together every month. I'm one of the creators of it. And if I scroll down to this section here about podcast guesting, every day there are an average of 48 people reaching out to be a guest on any given podcast. So if you're getting less than 48, you are under the average of what podcasts get. So keep that in mind, one, to kind of get an idea of where you're at. So as your show grows, you will see this number continue to climb. And if you are getting that number, like that's ridiculous. How on earth can anyone keep up with that, right? So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. You've got to have something really good here, something really, really good in place. Now, here is my suggestion. I'm going to just start with this disclaimer. This is my own product, but I built it with this exact intent of being able to solve this problem. So I use PodMatch. PodMatch is a service that connects podcast guest notes for interviews. But more importantly than that, for a host, it's a way that you can vet your guest really well and vice versa. So the first thing I do, and I will show you a little bit behind the scenes of what this looks like, but the first thing I do is I make sure that all of my guest requests are coming through PodMatch. I use an app, which on an Apple device, you can use like something called canned responses, but I use an app called Text Expander. Text Expander allows me to type in a little like code. I think it's like 4 digits, right? Like four character code, and then it will spit out this entire blurb of text. I send that to everybody who says, Alex, I want to be a guest on your podcast. Everyone gets that same blurb, which is, hey, thank you so much for reaching out. And I'm kind of paraphrasing here a little bit. I do all of my guest searching through PodMatch. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, you have to message me from there. Here is my profile link. That profile link is also my affiliate link. I earn 20% lifetime recurring commission on anyone who uses that link to join. And guess what? Every day, someone uses that link because I don't even know how many guest requests. Far more than the average every single hour, it feels like. People reaching out everywhere. So the opportunity here is now that no longer feels like, oh my goodness, this is such a waste of time. I have to respond to all these people because I'm a nice guy. I'm going to respond to everybody, right? I want to build that relationship. I no longer feel like it's a burden. It's a monetization option. It's an opportunity for me to earn. So I'm able to say, code done, code done, code done. As a matter of fact, I don't do it anymore. I have somebody else do that for me because I'm not looking at the guest at this point. And there's a reason for that. I'll get to that in just a moment. But here's the thing. Earning 20% lifetime recurring commission. If they're there for a year, I'm earning 20% of what they're paying PodMatch every year. Now, I am the founder. I don't actually take that cut, but I do track it. And I'll tell you what, I earn over $10,000 a month just on that alone. I'm willing to bet that if you're watching this, you probably, I'm not trying to be rude or anything like that, but you're probably making less than $10,000 a month with your podcast. My podcast is a 6-figure business just from that one tactic, nothing else. Now I want to get into the time saving side of things. The reason I do this is not to just funnel people in, it's because it saves so much time. And I'm going to share my screen here again and show you what this looks like. So this is inside of PodMatch on the actual messaging section itself. This is somebody who, Chris Smith, and sorry, Chris, for just calling you out here, reached out to me to be a guest on the show. Now, if I look over here on the right side of this, these are the 8 things involved in this process. They reached out to me, therefore I can press match or pass. And I can go to their profile and very quickly determine if it is going to actually be a match. So if I jump over to their profile and I look through it a little bit, I can kind of read some things about this individual. I can even see this thing called show match alignment, telling me where we align as a match. Like, what could we talk about that would be unique on my show? I can see all these administration details. They're all green checks. Therefore, we speak the same language. We're available at the same time. They're available for audio and video. They're available for everything I'm available for. They meet all that criteria. I can see everything else about them. I got their pictures, their introduction, their call to action, some other reviews that they've been on different shows. All this stuff is here. You want to know how much time I just saved right there alone? I'm going to stop sharing my screen because this is a really big point. That just saved me over an hour of my time. I can tell, like, I didn't just read it all right there, but in under 5 minutes, I can know if that person's the right fit or not. So if I actually want to vet every guest, done, 5 minutes. If you're not using PodMatch, and again, not saying you have to use it, you are spending more time than that. Now, whether you're like some sort of AI whiz, I promise you, you are still spending more time and exerting more energy than I'm going to based off of what I just did. I have all that information now. So when I tell someone, join PodMatch, reach out to me, 2 things happen. 1, they might reach out, and I'll look at someone like Chris, who I just showed you, and say, yep, this is probably actually a really good fit. Or 2, typically happens, they're like, oh, shoot, I'm actually not a good fit for this show. But what do you know? There's thousands, tens of thousands of other podcasts on here. I'll just reach out to them instead because they're a better fit. Thanks, host, for inviting me over to PodMatch. You'll keep on earning 20% affiliate commission for having me on. I'm not even going to reach out to you or bother you again because you're not even a good fit. But I found all these others that are. Great. Or sometimes they reach out when they're just a terrible fit. But guess what? I'm going to go back to sharing my screen now because there is something that you can do pretty quickly on that. So there's this button that says pass. If I press pass, we're done. The conversation's over. Nothing else needs to happen. I can archive that message and then I won't see it again. Done. But here's the thing. If I do decide this is a good fit, I went to their profile. You can automatically do this as a host. You don't have to send links every time. As a host, my work is done once I hit match. Everything else is going to be on the guest because guess what? They have to use my calendar to book a pre-interview with me. Okay, and now they have to fill out my release form also inside here. They have to set the recording date and time using my calendar. They need to flag the interview as complete, and I'm going to confirm that it's complete. So that's my next step, right? From match to confirm complete, all I've got to do is show up. Because I already given them all the information. I even give them the recording studio link, everything. It is 0 touch point, other than the fact that maybe some back and forth in the actual thread here to have a conversation about like what it is we want to talk about. And then I set a release date, and I even give them an episode link where they're able to confirm if they're going to share it or not. I'm able to see that information up front, by the way. I can know if they're going to share something or if they're not going to share it because we have that data and information inside here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. That right there is the beauty of PodMatch. You will earn a lot from being people on as an affiliate, and also you're going to save a ton of time along the way when it comes to actually booking a guest and figuring out all that information. You've got everything you need on their one profile. And then at the end of it, here's the last thing I didn't share. PodMatch has what's called our Pod Value Initiative. And what our Pod Value Initiative does is it pays podcast hosts just for using the system. Right now, at the time of recording this, I can actually just show this real quick. So I'm going to share my screen here again. And we'll see exactly how much we've given back to podcasters in the Pod Value program. So podmatch.com, we keep it right on the home page. Scroll down just a little bit and you can see it right here. So we are over $900,000 that we have paid back to podcasters in the last couple of years. Goal is to break 1 million and we'll just keep on going from there. But you can see that we are really making impact in giving money back to podcast hosts with the whole intent and goal of helping them offset their production cost. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen now one last time. So the whole idea here, once again, is can we help podcasters, one, monetize a very serious problem, which is how many people are trying to be a guest at any given time, and just finding the right one so that it can become a true win-win versus just having anyone on the show who reaches out. There's a lot of wrong people reaching out, right? And 2, can we help them offset their production cost? Can we give them enough amount of money back in their pocket that they can hire a virtual assistant, they can get more premium tools so they're able to really succeed long-term as a podcaster? If you're a serious podcaster that wants to both monetize and also save your time, I really, really encourage you to check out PodMatch. And you can start at podmatch.com/free to really learn everything that we're doing. And I hope you really take this seriously, because I'm finding that podcasting will continue to become more and more a time suck if we don't learn to get a hold of it. So again, I encourage you to check this out. And my name is Alex Sanfilippo. If I can help at all, feel free to reach out and let me know. I'm here to help and serve however I can. Thanks again. I appreciate you.